G'day everybody, it's Rabid, how you going? So, bit of an update on the game. To start with, I have my new teeth. I'm having trouble getting used to them though, so it's going to take some time before you see me with those in. But just thought I'd let you know that. And as you can see on the screen, we have a police car. And down here we have a bunch of cars. Because that's what I've been working on, is getting things organised for a traffic system. So I'm setting up all my prefab cars to work with it. Which I'll be able to give you a demo of in a moment. But these cars, the headlights, indicators, brake lights, all that sort of stuff can work. I've still got a whole bunch of cars I have to set up because they have a different system for handling this sort of stuff. If you see over here, if I open up the prefab for this car, where is it? Special car 1. You'll see we've got like headlight materials, brake light materials, and indicator or turn light materials. And some of these cars, like this one here, you can see has individual doors that we can set to open up and stuff like that. As well as, but I do have some other cars though that don't have doors that open, so I've got to sort through stuff and get everything matching up. And as you can see, they're a low poly look. So yes, I am doing a bit of an asset flip here. That doesn't, I think, devalue a game as long as you can make it original. But yeah, I'm hopefully going to reskin a few of these things to try and make them look a bit more unique as well. So yeah, that's what I've been doing, getting these all set up for the traffic system, which I shall show you here how that works. Let's save that. Is that a different vehicle in the system? So if we scroll up here, you can see this is the traffic system I'm using. You'll see a bunch of splines here with arrows showing direction of the traffic. This will be flipped around because the game is going to be very Australian, so the cars will need to be right-hand drive, which means they drive in the left lane, not the right lane, like you'd say get in America. Because, yeah, I really want very much Australian tones in this. Now, if I click play here, now this is a scene. It generates basically traffic like you'd expect in GTA, but it is very, very simple. They will obey road rules like traffic lights and stop signs, but they don't have any object avoidance in them, as well as you cannot enter the vehicles yet. I have to add a vehicle controller that not only will these cars be AI that can drive on themselves, you'll notice a lot of the cars that spawn will be passengerless, because I've also got to set it up too so that NPCs can be in the car so you can rip them out, sort of GTA style as well. But yeah, they're very, very basic. They don't have object avoidance. They can change lanes, but if an object gets in front of the car, it will just stop. And some of the cars, for some reason, have some bugs that I have to also sort out. But we'll have to take a look at that. Let me hit play here. So what I'm doing at the moment is I haven't got onto the game development stuff. And as you can see, all these cars are driving around. Now, the way this is set up, it has just got one other pack of cars. You won't see any of the traffic lights working, and you'll see a lot of repeats of the cars. Now, there's a good example there. See that military truck? It's just stopped, and it's holding up traffic, and they're all doing that. But you can see, yeah, the cars have stopped at the traffic lights there. They're turning around. But you'll notice, like this truck here, if you see one of those on the move, you'll see a wheel, one of the back wheels is wicking out. Sort of not rotating, it's more like doing overarm. It's like the wheel becomes detached from the truck and spins around in a huge circle. More like it's trying to paddle a canoe than drive on its wheels. But yeah, switch the camera angles here. And you can see there's like 358 cars being generated right across the map now, because yeah, this is early days of me just setting things up. And this is just a test run. This is not my map. This is a demo scene for the traffic. But you see lights turn green. Now the cars with the correct traffic. And these cars here are the ones I'm talking about where the lights don't work. So I have to go through and set them up so they've got working lights and stuff, so that when they do stop at traffic lights, their brake lights, for example, will come on. But yeah, you'll see bugs at the moment where like they're huge traffic pile up. But there is a way for me to get around that quick and easy, same as like that truck there. It just refuses to move for some reason. So let's get out of that, and you'll see demo pooling down there. Well, we have this demo pooling scene. This has got set up with all the cars. I have about 90 cars set up at the moment, all the low poly tune looking ones. This one doesn't allow me to change camera angles yet. It's only a flyby. But what this one does, it just, you'll see, like, yeah, cars popping off there until they load in. But this one, it doesn't render all the cars across the map. It culls a lot of them. It only renders the cars that are visible within a certain radius, which will massively help performance. But if you watch the tail lights on these cars here, when they come up to traffic lights and things like that, you'll see brake lights come on, as long as they're not cars from that pack that was in that other scene. So yeah, you can see the truck there. That was on that side where the wheel was bugging out. Yeah, because this is only rendering the cars that are in view, I'm managing to avoid the traffic pile-ups and stuff, because I've had cars doing weird things where all the cars are set up and working, but then you get one particular car that likes doing U-turns at weird places or driving off the road through the terrain and falling off into the void. But thankfully, most of them seem to be working. Yeah, there's that truck again. See what I'm talking about, the wheel? Have no idea why it's doing that, because it is set up correctly. But you'll see some like this bus up here, its lights are lit up, and you'll see all the cars here that are stopped. Their lights are red and lit, but they should turn off. There we go. There goes the bus. See the bus there? Just decided, screw it, I give up on life. Let's kill all the passengers, if there was passengers. But yeah, you'll see this car here, the brake lights going on and off, the black muscle car. So yeah, sort of covered there. There's another traffic system I am looking at that looks very similar to this one, about the same price, but that actually has object avoidance and the cars can navigate around. But I don't just have these low poly, low cartoony sort of looking vehicles. I do have some realistic props as well. And that's what I'm doing at the moment, is I'm setting them all up and making my own packages, so that in the future I don't have to go through this every time I want to make a new project. I can just load up a package and bam, there's all my pre-configured cars ready to go. No further setup required. Once I've worked out the issues with the occasional ones that act a bit spastic. But yeah, I've got a ton load of assets. I mean, I'll give you an example here of the cars I do have. That I have been setting up. So yeah, got those ones there. These Cinti ones, which are a little bit more low poly looking, and these are the ones where the lights aren't set up, as well as this one here. That's from another different developer that also need the lights and everything rigged on them properly. And some of the vehicles, like these ones and these ones, the doors and everything open, but on these ones, like the ambulance there, only the back doors open, and a lot of these vehicles, the doors are actually like welded shut. But I do have enough vehicles there. I mean, if we look at my package manager over here, you'll see I've got like 300 commercial Unity assets. I've been gathering them up over the year through bundles and stuff. So I've got quite a good collection. I've got everything from editor tools, AI tools like this iFi one here, as well as different prefabs for like science fiction, realistic and cartoony, fantasy, medieval, World War II. You name it, I pretty much got it now, including different NPCs, animations. The long-term goal is to actually get original assets in there. It's just to get a base game going, because that's the other thing about development too, is I am one man at the moment, with some help from a friend, but it's a lot of work when you've got to do everything. So it'd be much easier when I get to that point that I can go to a modeler and say, hey, because I do know how to model. I'm not the most proficient, I'm not that fast, but that's the thing, time. So when I get to that point that I can actually go out and just pay people and say, okay, here's some concept art, please make me some models that look like this, and then I can just say, here you go, you're paid, bam, got it, and then I can focus on the actual developing of the game itself. Now, as for the game, I'm not going to get too much into the detailed storyline, but I will say that it is going to be, like, it looks open world, you might think Grand Theft Auto. Well, it's sort of going to be Grand Theft Auto in the sense that there's vehicles and it's open world, but the gameplay itself, I want to be a combination of action RPG, something similar to Genshin, where you got the quick melee combat, bouncing around the place, magics and stuff, as well as there being firearms and real world tech. Aside from that, I don't want to get too far into it, but I'm going to try and make the game, at least story-wise, try and be something unique, because it's hard to get, new and unique gameplay elements these days. First-person shooters, cover shooters, third-person melee is third-person melee. We're limited in, I guess it's like the 7 basic plots. There's only so much original stuff you can create these days, so you've got to stand out sort of visually and story-wise, which I think we've got something unique in that regard. But that's something that, at the moment, not willing to discuss until a later date when I have more to show off. So, we're just basically in the setup stage at the moment. That I was making the game as I went along, but I thought, no, I need to get organised. So, it's sorting out all my assets. So, if I decide I want to make a sci-fi project, I can go, okay, here's the sci-fi packages, all the building elements, all the vehicle elements, all the NPC elements. If I want to do something a bit more realistic, that option's there. And if I want to make something cartoony looking or anime style, I've got that option. And like I said, just to easily quickly set up. But it's great that these days you actually have these tools that can make it so that it is possible for a single person to make a game. I mean, here's an asset I still bought on Unity for a traffic system. And it's difficult to find a good one. And it's better than what you get in a AAA game like Cyberpunk, So I've already got a better traffic system than a multi-million-dollar game development company. So, it sort of raises questions on, when it comes to AAA development and why it is so backwards lately with these half-assed release games like Redfall and stuff where they're incomplete, or Cyberpunk that had one of the worst traffic systems going, when you can quite literally go to an asset store and buy a traffic system, and even if it's an in-house game engine, they're building it themselves instead of using something like Unity or Unreal. Why they can't go look at these things and get an idea of how this stuff's meant to work. But you'll probably notice some glitches and stuff while we're talking here. The other thing is, I'm trying to get more frequent with my updates. Content. So I'll be trying to bring out a video, like I said, once a week. But as you see, I've got a ton of assets. So I think I might review some of those too, because that's the problem with buying assets. Here's another one. There's that SUV that stops the traffic too. But I can't see why yet. I've got to work that out because it's all set up like all the other cars are. But there's just occasionally that 1 or 2 cars or trucks that just spaz out for no obvious reason. But anyway, I was thinking about, as I go along, I might review some of these Unity assets that I own. At least the ones that are still available on the store, because you do get assets that the developers just stop working on them and they become deprecated and they're no longer available for purchase, even if you can download them. But I've also got some that, even though you've purchased them, they're just outright deleted, and I cannot even download them anymore. Like I've got an ocean system, for example, that provides underwater effects for bodies of water. There goes a bus off into the terrain, just goes kamikaze. And see that bus there, it takes a turn and it goes up on the footpath. It would have wiped out some pedestrians, but in a way I think that would be funny. If there's pedestrians on the footpath and you have the bus come around the corner to wipe them out, because accidents happen in real life. So as a bit of realism, I guess, except for falling through the terrain. But the thing is, with that water asset that I was talking about, for example, it's been removed from the Unity store and I can no longer download it. The guy who made it has got his own website where he is selling it. So it's not like the asset no longer exists and is unable for purchase, but I, the person who has actually bought it, cannot access it. I cannot download it. So might look at things like that to do with game development too, when you're a single person relying heavily on paid assets. So, let me know in the comments if you see this. If you're a budding game developer and you've got to go the bought assets path, because it's a bit different when you've got a company of 500 people working for you compared to being one person trying to make the equivalent of a AAA game. And if you'd like to see reviews on that and looks at the things that you have to face when being a solo developer or a small development team. I'll probably start doing reviews on some of the assets I own. because I do have quite a few, and the pitfalls and stuff of them. Like, for example, I have a particular first-person shooter engine, and not long after I bought it, it became deprecated because they brought out a new version. So while you get a discount because you own the old version, and I bought the new version, and before I even got to use the new version, they moved on to another version. And not only that, they start separating things out. So it's like, oh, here's the very basic first-person shooter parts, but you want this controller, you've got to buy another asset. You want to buy that controller, you want this feature, you've got to buy it, when it used to be an all-in-one pack. So they're doing like a DLC now with these editing tools and nickel and diming people, which kind of sucks. But then you get other ones that are great. They can include everything. I mean, hell, I've got an animal controller that I thought just made it so that you could ride horses and have horse animations for horse-like creatures. But it seems like it's got a whole AI system built into it, even though I've got several different AI systems now. So that's also the problem. Once you get a whole bunch of tools, and you've got tools that do similar things, it becomes a bit of a challenge to work out. Like, oh, do I use this one or do I use that one, for example? And how easy is this one compared to how easy that one is? And as you can see, yeah, so you go another one wigging out, but you can see the tyre there doing the weird stuff. So anyway, that's an update on, the game stuff. I'm really just getting everything set up, all my content and stuff. And at the moment, that's traffic, but I'm working, like I said, I'm making packages where I've got all my building components in one, all my NPC characters in one, that I can load up as well. And also, this stuff ends up taking up a ton of hard drive space too, especially once you start making your own custom packages. So you can see here, these are some of the building ones I'm doing, where I've gutted some assets, like this FPS builder that I've got. It is literally a project, and you've got to code it and stuff yourself, but it's got some great assets in it, like building components and weapons and things. So I've ripped those out, and I can use them because I can't use the project itself anymore. It hasn't been updated in a while, but the assets are still good. And so you've basically got, and there's my vehicle one. So you can see I've got spaceships, I've got cars, different types of cars, like realistic cars, and the Cindy Car Pack. That's a company that makes a lot of low poly stuff. That's what they're famous for, as well as like tune cars. And these were all packs that came with towns, buildings, stuff like that I have since gutted. So that's all I've got to say on the matter at the moment. Probably already been rambling on long enough. But stay tuned. Like I said, I'm going to try and get this to at least a weekly upload on the game development, so you can follow along with me, and maybe every 2 weeks, once a month. I'm going to try my best, because I know I keep promising that, I'm going to get more regular with the videos, but, real life and other things get in the way sometimes. So it's not as easy as you might think when you don't have a whole team of, a production company behind you where you've got writers and things like that, like a lot of the bigger channels do have. So and I'll try and intersperse that with asset reviews. So if there's anything you want to know about the game development side of things, let me know, and if I can, I will address it and look into it further for you. Anyway, thanks for watching. This is Rabid, and I will catch you on the next video, where maybe I'll show off my new teeth, even if I'm not used to them yet. So, okie dokie. Thanks for watching. Catch you later. Bye-bye. Well, bye-bye once I find the off button. There it is. See ya.